Tulaside Kicharaya Prana Madhava Toshani Jane Gora Priya Saka Sevani Jivana Sartakamani Bhakti Vina Krishna Jani Anukula Paya Jaha Pratidivasi Paramasuki Trikora Goreyata Sudha Bhakata Chanare Bhajana Anukula Bhakata Seva Paramasidhi Premalati Koromula Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. I would prefer a seat. So this morning we are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Canto 7, Chapter 15, and Text 25. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Do you have something on the board? Do you want to read? You all want to read? Okay.
Sattvam chopasamena cha etat sarvam guru bhakya purusho yanja sajaya rajastamascha satvina sattvam chopasamena cha
Vaishnavis.
Rajastamascha sattvam chopashamena cha etat sarvam guru bhaktya purusho yanja sajaya Rajastamascha sattvena sattvam chopashamena cha etat sarvam guru bhaktya purusho yanja sajaya
Raja, Tama, the modes of passion and ignorance. Cha and Satvena, by developing the mode of goodness. Sattvam, the mode of goodness. Cha, also Upashamena, by giving up attachment. Cha and Itat, these, Sarvam, O Guru, unto the spiritual master. Bhaktya, by rendering service. In devotion. Purusha, a person. He, indeed. Anjasa, easily. Jayet, can conquer. Translation: One must conquer the mode of passion and ignorance by developing the mode of goodness. And then one must become detached from the mode of goodness by performing oneself in the platform of Suddha Sattva. All this can be automatically done if one engages in the service of the Supreme Master, or the Supreme Spiritual Master, and faith and devotion. In this way, one can conquer the influence of the modes of nature. Srila Prabhupada's purport. Just by treating the root cause of an ailment, one can conquer all bodily pains and sufferings. Similarly, if one is devoted and faithful to the spiritual master, he can conquer the influence of sattva gun, rajagun, and tamagun very easily. Yogis and jnanis practice in many ways to conquer the senses, but the bhakta immediately attains the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the mercy of the spiritual master. Yasha Prasad Bhagavat Prasado. If the spiritual master is favorably inclined, one naturally receives the mercy of the Supreme Lord. And by the mercy of the Supreme Lord, one immediately becomes transcendental, conquering all the influences of sattva gun, rajagun, and tamagun within this material world. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Sa gunam samatityaitan brahma bhuyati kalpate. If one is a pure devotee acting under the direction of the Guru, one easily gets the mercy of the Supreme Lord and thus becomes immediately situated on the transcendental platform. This is explained in the next verse, which we will read tomorrow. Om Agyatamanandasya Jananjana Salakaya Chaksuramilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swabhadantikam Vanchakalpatuyo Bhishya Kripa Sindhu Vaevacha Patijananam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna. So this it's very interesting in Krishna consciousness because we have all explanations that we need in order to move nicely forward to perfection. And what is mentioned this morning regarding the free modes of material nature is no exception to achieving the perfection. It is important that we rise above the modes and be transcendentally situated. We come into Krishna consciousness, most of us, at least I can speak for myself, complete zero, completely entangled in the molds of material nature. I remember with the first devotee I saw in London when I had well, first let me say this. I had no intentions of becoming a Hare Krishna devotee. And I think I can say the same for all of you. This becoming a devotee was something which is divinely inspired within us. I was in Plymouth. That's where I was brought up, in Plymouth. To the thought of actually going to London just didn't light candles for me. But suddenly I found myself in London. And I got a job as a cleaner, cleaning rich people's homes. And one home that I was asked to go to by this company I was working for was Spike Milligan's home. And although I didn't meet him, I did meet his wife and spoke with her very often about life. And she used to tell me about India. They had been to India several times. Anyway, during that time, I also came across the Hare Krishnas dancing on Oxford Street. And my first impression was that, well, they're definitely crazy. And so in that way, again, I had no intentions of following such people. But then one day a devotee came to me while I was walking along the street, gave me a magazine and gave me an invitation to the Sunday Love Feast. And I won't tell the whole story. I'll tell that some other day. But I came to the temple and I liked the prasadam, and I was coming regularly just to take prasadam. But one day I was walking to the temple and I saw one devotee also walking in front of me. And I still remember to this day that she was not walking on the ground. She was not walking like everyone else was walking. It immediately struck me that she was different. And I was very impressed. And I was very glad to just follow her to the temple that morning. And again, little did I know that I would also become a devotee myself. I was just coming to the temple because the food was good. I had no idea what I was eating. But there you go. Everything is happening step by step within spiritual life. And we have to have some kind of taste for something in Krishna consciousness. And for many of us, it was prasadam. And in those days, it was good prasadam. It was all Vedic preparations and cooked in ghee. And, coming for the Sunday feast was my joy. I was looking forward to it every Sunday. And after the feast, there were at least 15 preparations. And you would literally walk away like a duck, and thinking that was good, that was good. But, I wasn't interested in chanting. I wasn't interested in the philosophy. The philosophy was way above my head. But gradually, step by step, even that started to appear. One day I started to chant, though the first Krishna didn't really come out as Krishna, because there's, when one of Prabhupada's godbrothers asked Prabhupada, why do your disciples chant their japa so slowly? And Prabhupada's reply was, because it's a foreign language to them. So even the first Krishna, it's like, ooh, just to get that Krishna out of the mouth was not an easy thing. But all the practices of Krishna consciousness, they have the ability to rise us through the modes of material nature. There's a nice example in the Vedas explaining what it's given the example of a lotus flower. That the lotus flower is born in the mud, but it rises above the water and flowers above the water. it's a very wonderful example because, especially for us, we were born in the mud of Kali Yuga, materialistic life. And, we suddenly had this mercy of coming in contact with Krishna consciousness and seeing ourselves make turning points in life through chanting, taking prasad, associating, even going to India. It's always a wonderful experience to just even going to India, what to speak of the Holy Dham. It's a new life experience, and we very quickly saw changes in us. You can make an experiment if you're a new devotee sitting here this morning. Maybe you've been practicing for 1 year. Or even we, if we still have old photographs of our non-devotee life, it is very easy to see. You look at the picture of what you used to be and then look in the mirror as what you are now. There's absolutely no doubt about it. We are living proof of Krishna consciousness working. Our minds are more peaceful. Our senses are illuminated with knowledge. We have a direction. We feel happy about that too. And all the opulence around us, it cannot be compared to anything else of this world. Just like the paintings on the walls. Prabhupada said they're windows to the spiritual world. However, some devotees don't want to go beyond the mode of goodness. Here it is explaining how the mode of goodness has to be. It's nice to be in goodness. It's better than, where we came from. But it's not enough. In fact, it is explained that the mode of goodness has elements of ignorance and passion anyway. It is not pure. Goodness is not 100% pure. It has traces of ignorance and passion. That's why we must rise above even goodness. But some devotees, they're happy. The mode of goodness. Oh, better than where I was. And about transcendental goodness, not sure about that. That's for the big devotees, the sannyasis, or this or that. No, I'm happy where I am. And we kind of look for other devotees who are in that state too. We're feeling, the mode of goodness. Let's stay here. It's a safe platform. So what is the mode of goodness? What do people do in the mode of goodness? Who can say? What do you do in the mode of goodness? Yeah.
You live a simple life in the countryside. Yourself clean and tidy.
Yeah, say it in the mic. Yeah. Say it again.
So somebody in the mode of goodness, they live in the countryside, away from the general mass of people. They like classical music. They live in a clean place, a tidy place, very conscientious, very high integrity.
Very good. Anything else?
they'll do their duty, whether they're wanting to do it or not. They'll go and do whatever they need to do, irrespective of whether they like it or not.
Okay. Duty. You just mentioned that in the purport. Also not being attached. So they're doing their duty, but very attached. Anything else?
Conditioned by a sense of happiness.
Conditioned by the sense of happiness. That's a good one. Anything else?
They try to eat healthy and they try to help others.
Yeah. This is the one I was especially looking for. You can imagine these two devotees, they made friends with each other and they want to remain in the mode of goodness. So one of them calls the other, hey, I know one good vegetarian restaurant. It's not a Govinda restaurant, but it's a vegetarian restaurant. Would you like to go there today? Well, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So they both meet at the restaurant. And they sit down and they make their order. And the order comes. There's the food in front of them. So one says to the other, did you bring your pictures? No, I thought you were going to bring yours. Well, anyway, it's vegetarian. Hey, come on, that's funny. You don't laugh in Scotland? I thought that was funny. Anyway, this is the mode of goodness. It's vegetarian. It's a compromise. It's a compromise. Of course, we also have situations where it's difficult to offer the food, when you go to maybe some special meeting at work and they're serving vegetarian food, or you're visiting relatives and they know you're a vegetarian, so they've prepared some salad and things. And it's kind of difficult, isn't it? You don't go to the parents wearing tilak and your dhoti and kurta and start bowing down, offering the food. But it's okay if they like what you're doing, but sometimes they're not favorable. But anyway, the point in this verse is explaining that you have to rise above even goodness. And flower, like a lotus flower above the water. A lotus flower is not touched by the water. And pure goodness is not touched by goodness, passion, or ignorance. This is a wonderful aspect of Krishna consciousness that we can see are changing every day. We see ourselves changing, and we know that, yes, I'm moving forward nicely. In other religions, it's based on faith. Well, I believe in Jesus, so that's enough. They have no philosophy. They have no philosophical statements which suggest this is how you can move forward in the area of loving God. Well, we have plenty of them, and the verse today is typical of all the other verses in the Bhagavatam. It's a direction for us. It's a means of making improvements within our service to Krishna. And the other thing that's mentioned also is the taking shelter of the Guru. And this is also important because Krishna doesn't want us to approach him directly. That's what he says himself. It's not some interpretation, but he himself said, I said clearly, I don't want anyone coming to me directly. By the spiritual master or the disciplic succession, and specifically your own spiritual master. In this way, Krishna doesn't have to bother with all our, because we come into Krishna consciousness also with our impressions from the past. Some of these impressions are traumas which we experienced, and each trauma is very deep, and sometimes we need even outside help, because it's so deep. Although the chanting and everything else, is usually sufficient, but even some devotees need extra help from past traumas, and help from devotees, devotees, mentors, and temple authorities or managers, and so much help is there so that we can break through all these different obstacles that are present within bhakti for us individually. And, sometimes we can even say it's like a Kurukshetra battle, fight. It's a bloody fight sometimes. But there's a purpose, there's a reason why it's a fight. And that is because all this fighting for Krishna makes us more and more stronger. There's a story, and I don't know if you've seen my book. I have one book of different stories which relate to Krishna consciousness. One story is there where, as you know, sometimes the caterpillar changing into a butterfly is done within a cocoon. And when the butterfly develops from a caterpillar to a butterfly, it's growing its wings and everything, and it starts to push its way out of the cocoon. So one man was watching this. He was thinking, well, this is interesting. I've never seen this before. Let's see how long it takes for this butterfly to come out of the cocoon. So he's watching from the outside. The butterflies pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. But at one point, the butterfly stops pushing, and the man starts to speculate. Maybe he needs my help. And he decides to cut the cocoon and watch the butterfly fly away. But the butterfly doesn't fly. It just drops on the floor. Why? Because that pushing within the cocoon is nature's arrangement so that certain liquids can come out the wings of the butterfly so they become strong in order to fly. This is the purpose. So our spiritual life is just like that. Every single challenge we have, every single obstacle is meant to be there for our further perfection. Sometimes we don't like how it comes to us. It can come in a very, a painful way. But if we take it and accept it, then that's ideal. It shows the spiritual master and Krishna that, okay, this person is serious because he's taking shelter. Now, Srila Prabhupada, he also did the same thing. He was given an order by his spiritual master to go to the West and preach. And that's a tall order. Imagine coming from Vrindavan to suddenly being in New York City, at the time when there was also a change in an understanding. Many people dropped out of society and became hippies and, protested against the materialistic way of life. But it was a perfect timing that Prabhupada came there at that time. It wasn't easy, but it was the perfect time to give Krishna consciousness. But he was aware that he could not do this alone. So when he arrived in Boston Harbor, just as he was arriving, he prayed to Guru and Krishna, and these are some of the prayers which he mentioned. How will I make them understand this message of Krishna consciousness? I am very unfortunate, unqualified, and the most fallen. Therefore, I am seeking your benediction so that I can convince them, for I am powerless to do so on my own. So there's very powerful, just that first prayer is so powerful. I am powerless to do anything on my own. Somehow or other, O Lord, you have brought me here to speak about you. Now, my Lord, it is up to you to make me a success or a failure as you like. O spiritual master of all the worlds, I can simply repeat your message. So if you like, you can make me my power of speaking suitable for their understanding. Only by your causeless mercy will my words become pure. I am sure that when this transcendental message penetrates their hearts, they will certainly feel gladdened and thus become liberated from all unhappy conditions of life. O Lord, I am just like a puppet in your hands. So if you have brought me here to dance, then make me dance, make me dance. O Lord, make me dance as you like. And the last one, I have no devotion, nor do I have any knowledge, but I have strong faith in the holy name of Krishna. I have been designated as Bhaktivedanta. And now, if you like, you can fulfill the real purport of Bhaktivedanta. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So even before actually leaving Vrindavan, he would pray to the, specifically Rupa Goswami, and he would pray to Advaita Acharya. There are many stories of people seeing Prabhupada praying, taking shelter, because he knew that alone he could not do anything himself. And this is it's an example for our own service, that we should not ever think that we are doing this ourselves. Where first it's the order of Guru, what we're doing is the order, and he also gives the blessings to be able to achieve that instruction. One time a devotee asked Prabhupada, so how much is the spiritual master within the heart of the disciple? And Prabhupada replied that the spiritual master is in the heart of the disciple to the degree that the disciple wants the spiritual master to be there. And of course, the spiritual master can choose whether he wants to give mercy or not. Because if we start gliding in Krishna consciousness, so gliding means it's just like a bird, it's flapping its wings. As long as it's doing this, it's swiftly moving forward. But if it starts to do this, well, it's moving, but it's slowing down. So that's the tendency we have. And it's our decision whether we do that or no. There's no fault on the part of Krishna consciousness to be able to give us everything that we need to achieve the highest perfection of bhakti. So these warnings are there that we must try our best to keep flapping our wings and moving forward. There's different questions and answers in regards to this relationship between guru and disciple. Following the instructions of guru, a question may be asked. If someone has accepted a guru but cannot follow his instructions, what is the reason for that? Maybe you can try to answer that. I have the answer here, but what do you think? I mean, of course, there could be many answers, but we'll see if you got the one I got. Unless it's offenses to Vaishnavas and serious ones. But as far as offenses to the holy name, we're doing that every day, most of us. But the holy name is very tolerant, and Harinam Prabhu will forgive you. It's okay, because he knows it's a foreign language for you. Weakness. I think there's one I got that probably covers everything you said. Independence. Tightly retaining one's independence. Because even weakness, well, we can go stronger if we're sincere. There's no, weakness in one sense can be an excuse why not to go forward. I don't think I can do this. When Prabhupada heard that, he gave an instruction and the disciple said, I don't think I can do this. I have no experience of this, therefore it's impossible for me to do it. And then he would say, there's no such word in our dictionary. The word impossible, there's no such word in our dictionary. Because everything is possible if we are sincere. So most of the ones that you mentioned, come under that category that, what was it? Weakness? What else was it? Lack of faith, bad association. It's not that we cannot overcome those things. But wanting to be independent, that's the reason why we left in the first place Krishna, because we wanted to take distance from Krishna. Well, this is one which is quite popular today. Offenses to Guru. What if one is initiated by a bona fide Guru, but then goes to an unauthorized Guru? You know, there's a lot of devotees. I don't know about England. I don't know so much what's going on here, but I know in the Baltic regions, there's a lot of people that go to Vrindavan, even though they're initiated, they go to Vrindavan and they, meet some Babaji who tells them, it's okay. I can give you much more than your guru has given you. I can even give you, a civic finale, which means, Guru will give you your form in the spiritual world, and you can start practicing. Siddhas for your eternally persist form in the spiritual world. Especially if you're just a young devotee, it's not something that's given to you right away. But these, cheap gurus, they want to get a lot of disciples, and this is a good way of doing it. I'll give you a siddha pranali. That some ISKCON devotees fall for it. But it's very clear in our study of the Shastras that that's something that comes later. As we know the story of Los Angeles, when devotees started to do those kind of things. They would meet and they would, practice, what they thought was their eternal form. And one devotee was, practicing his peacock form. It was dead serious. And when Prabhupada heard about it, he said, bring those devotees to me immediately. And he challenged them. He said, where have you got all this nonsense? He said, first deserve, then desire. Don't be like monkeys. You've seen the monkeys in Vrindavan? Is there anything intelligent that they do? Not really. You're just, jumping like monkeys. And they even challenged, not challenged, but they kind of said, but Prabhupada, it's in your books and blah, blah, blah. Yes, everything is in my books. He gave the example of a chemist. Everything's in the chemist. But can you go to the chemists? What's the lady called? Pharmacy. Can you go to a pharmacy and say, well, I want that one, and I want that one, and I want that one, and I want that one? And she's going to look at you and say, well, where's your prescription? First, you give me your prescription, then I'll give you what's on the prescription, nothing more. Yeah, so it's the greatest disgrace. Well, actually, there's another story. Prabhupada sometimes saw us not very happy. You know how sometimes, one day you're okay, and another day you're down in the dumps. Oh no, another 16 rounds. We're not very happy, which is normal, up and down in the beginning. But Prabhupada would say things like, the greatest disgrace in front of the spiritual master is to see the disciple morose. I said, already, chant and be happy. And you are chanting and you're morose. And actually, when we say this in a class, be happy. Are you happy? And everyone suddenly, yes. But we need reminding. Be happy. Be happy because this is such a joyful way of life. We saw Prabhupada, his smile. It was infectious. When we saw Prabhupada smiling, he didn't just smile from here. It started here. It came to here, and it came to here. It came to here, and it came, his eyebrows, everything was ecstatically a symptom of, yes, this person is happy. But some of us, no. I'm not going to smile. No. This is this independence that we're talking about here. No, I don't dance in the kirtan. I got my square here. This is my square. There's independence, and we want to keep that independence. What is the meaning of guru? Guru means darkness or ignorance, and Ru refers to one who destroys darkness, one who can give us light, who can dissipate the darkness of ignorance by the torchlight of knowledge. A bona fide guru establishes our connection with Krishna and engages us in Krishna's service. Only by the Guru's strength one can become free from the influence of Maya and conquer Krishna. And conquer Krishna? Acquire Krishna. Acquire. Krishna is unconquerable, but he can be conquered, by the strength of Guru. Guru will also extinguish the blazing fire of material existence, of repeated birth and death. Now, this is another interesting thing. I remember Shiva Maharaj once said, the most embarrassing thing in Krishna consciousness is when the disciple becomes more qualified than the guru. That they can do something, that the guru cannot do. And I'm always very impressed watching many of the devotees nowadays, how sincerely they've taken up the practices of Krishna consciousness. When they play kartals, it's all kind of very interestingly done. You give a pair of kartals to me, I go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's it. If you give me a mridanga, I go bum, 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 and that's happy. I'm happy to do. So I let the others do it. I see someone more qualified. You carry on. I'll watch with great happiness. Yeah. So anyway, this is the sum and substance of today's class. Thank you so much, and I'll stop there. So Prabhupada. Okay. Yeah, if you want. Yeah.
Thank you for class. We had one devotee that was here for a while, and he was saying that his guru is his Srila Prabhupada. And I was wondering, what is the distinction between a founder acharya and a spiritual master? Because there's many gurus, but there's only one founder acharya, at least in ISKCON.
I was afraid you were going to ask that question. That's another joke. Come on. Well, yeah. I had an experience once in Vrindavan. This was just after Prabhupada had left. And one girl came up to me. She said, "You're a Prabhupada disciple. I need some help." I said, "Yeah, okay, we'll sit down." She said, "I don't think my guru is doing anything wrong, but I'm losing faith in him." And I realized, with that question, it was going to be the first time that I was going to defend one of my godbrothers as a spiritual master. I kind of didn't really know what to say to her. And I remember taking shout to Radharani, "You're the queen of Vrindavan, can you help me out here?" And what I said to her then was even surprised me, so I knew it was coming from above, and not my mental speculation. Well, it was kind of a little funny how it all happened. First I said, "Okay, you're not a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, but you are a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Isn't that good?" Because many years down the road, people who come to Krishna consciousness will be disciples of disciples of disciples of disciples of Prabhupada. But something else came. I said, "But why am I making this from one guru to another guru? The guru is one, and therefore you do not make such distinction. Of course, we do distinguish ourselves from Prabhupada. We cannot, for sure, we cannot come anywhere close to being on the same level as Srila Prabhupada. He came from the spiritual world. He was asked by Krishna to come to give Krishna consciousness to the world. But even Prabhupada chastised us once. He said, what was it now? Yeah, the devotee started to glorify Prabhupada. And he said, "Prabhupada, you speak so nicely about Krishna." And Prabhupada said, "You speak or I speak, Krishna is sweet." He wasn't going to let us go with this understanding, well, you're the founder of Charya, I cannot speak. So he used to give this example of an iron poker in the fire. You put the iron poker in the fire, after some time the poker becomes as hot as the fire. And this is what Prabhupada explains in regards to devotees, preaching, whatever you do. He said that you can do what I have done. Don't think that you cannot do what, don't, put yourself into an inferior situation. That was Prabhupada, what are we? Because as I said, the spiritual master has no problem seeing his disciple more qualified at something than he is. So there's no distinction like that. One guru is as good as another, as long as he's following the order of history. Therefore, there's no decline. What do you say? Declination? What's the word? Not diminution. I've been away so long, I've forgotten my English. No diminution on this path. So we can look forward to, for thousands of years, we can look forward to spiritual masters initiating. Initiation goes on as before. No different. Is that okay? But it's okay. All right, I'll finish there. It's getting late. Srila Prabhupada ki. Chanting 16 rounds every day ki. Being happy in Krishna consciousness.